Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's meeting of the Assembly Committee on Growth and Infrastructure. Mr. Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Assemblywoman Brown-May. Here. Assemblyman Carter. Present. Assemblywoman Dickman. Here. Assemblywoman Gallant. Here. Assemblyman Gurr. Here. Assemblywoman Kasama. Here. Assemblywoman Marzola. Here. Assemblywoman Miller. Here. Assemblyman Miller. Here. Assemblywoman Peters. Here. Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong. And Chair Watts.
And I am here. Thank you. Members, we have no bill hearings, but a substantial work session ahead of us today. We will have a public comment period at the end of today's meeting. We'll ask anyone wishing to make public comment to limit their remarks to 2 minutes. And please clearly state and spell their name for the record before beginning. Anyone wishing to make public comment by phone may find the call-in information on our agenda, which is also publicly posted on the Nevada Legislature's website. So with that, I think I'll dispense with the rest of the housekeeping items, and we will begin with our work session for today. So with that, I will turn it over to our policy analyst, Mr. Stinisbeck, and we will go in order. We'll begin with SB 11.
Thank you, Chair. For the record, Jan Stinisbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. As nonpartisan staff, I cannot advocate for or against any measure comes before this committee. With that being said, the first bill on work session today, SB 11, was sponsored by the Senate Committee on Growth and Infrastructure on behalf of Nevada League of Cities and Municipalities and heard in this committee on April 27th. The bill requires the Department of Public Safety to adopt certain regulations relating to the operation of unmanned aerial vehicles by a public agency. And among other things, the regulations adopted by the department must establish a list of unmanned aerial vehicles and related equipment and services that a public agency may not purchase, and a list of businesses, countries, and entities for which a public agency may not purchase such equipment. There's one proposed amendment to the bill by the Assembly Committee on Growth and Infrastructure, and it revises provisions governing the list of unmanned air vehicles and related equipment and services that a public agency may not purchase, provides that the prohibition against the law enforcement agency operating, purchasing, or acquiring certain unmanned aerial vehicles, equipment, and services does not apply prior to the effective date of certain regulations, and lastly, changes the effective date. The proposed language is attached to the work session document. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stinisbeck. Before proceeding, just note that there was some significant conversation and some concerns around the potential proposal to relocate this program and regulations to the Office of the Military. So just to make sure all the members are aware, this program under this proposed amendment will remain under the Department of Public Safety. Members, any questions on the work session document? All right, seeing none, I'll accept a motion. I have a motion to amend and do pass from Assemblywoman Dickman. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I'll take the second from Vice Chair Brown-May. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay.
Nay.
Nays, please raise your hands. We've got a nay from Assemblywoman Peters and a nay from Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong. With that, the motion carries. I will assign the floor statement to Assemblyman Miller. Next, we will move to Senate Bill 59.
For the record, Jan Stinisbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 59 was sponsored by the Senate Committee on Growth and Infrastructure on behalf of the Department of Wildlife. We heard this committee on May 11th. The bill revises requirements relating to the operation and numbering of power-driven and sailing vessels and procedures and fees to obtain certificates of ownership for certain vessels. The bill also revises provisions relating to certain crimes associated with operating a vessel under influence of alcohol or controlled substances while underway on the waters of the state. Further, a game warden, sheriff, or other peace officers authorized to order the removal of vessels under certain circumstances, and a court is authorized to prohibit a person from operating any vessel under interstate waters under certain circumstances until a person successfully completes a course in safe boating. There are no amendments to this bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stinisbeck. Members, any questions on Senate Bill 59? Seeing none, I'd accept a motion to do pass. Oh, wow. I'll take the first from Assemblyman Gurr. Second? I've got a second from Assemblywoman Peters. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. I'll assign the floor statement to Assemblyman Gurr. Next, we'll move to Senate Bill 85.
For the record, Jan Stinisbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 85 was sponsored by Senator Daly and heard in this committee on May 2nd. The bill changes the amount of money that the Director of the Nevada Department of Transportation is required to retain for certain highway contracts to an amount of 5% of the contract price, but not more than $50,000. The bill also removes the requirement for NDOT to perform a final inspection and reduce the amount retained based upon such an inspection, and instead provides that the amount retained must be retained until satisfactory completion of the entire project and final acceptance by the Director of NDOT. Lastly, the bill authorizes a subcontractor or supplier who performs work on a project for highway improvement or construction to contact the Director of NDOT to resolve payment disputes if a contractor withholds more than 5% of a required payment. There are no proposed amendments to this bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stinisbeck. Members, any questions? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to do pass Senate Bill 85. All right, I'll take a motion from Assemblywoman Gallant. Do I have a second? Second from Assemblywoman Dickman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Gallant. Next, we'll move on to Senate Bill 110.
For the record, Jan Stinisbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 110 was sponsored by Senators Gogochia and others, heard in this committee on April 27th. The bill requires vehicles operating on certain highways with one travel lane in each direction to display daytime running lamps or lighting lamps and illuminating devices when operating on the highway in order to improve the visibility of a vehicle. There was one proposed amendment to the bill by Senator Gogochia to change the effective date to July 1st, 2023, and July 1st, 2028. And I believe we have members from NDOT here as well.
Thank you, Mr. Stinisbeck. I would like to call someone from NDOT up briefly, just to get some clarification on the record. So I know there was some conversation, particularly during the hearing, about making sure that members of the public would be educated about these changed requirements, and additionally that there would be signage, and essentially that by having signage posted, that would provide adequate notice to members of the public, and we wanted to figure out how to do that in a way that could be also absorbed by the agency. So, and welcome, Senator Gogochia. Appreciate your work on this, so you can feel free to step in as well, but just wanted to specifically ask the department, with this proposed effective date and implementation timeline, do you expect to be able to, one, ensure that the signage is provided everywhere that this would take effect across the state, and two, be able to absorb those costs within your kind of overall plan for the implementation and replacement of signage across the state?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair. For the record, Darren Tedford with the Department Deputy Director. Yes, to your questions, our plan would be to incrementally install the signs where needed, which largely is going in and out of each town, as the board, the committee's aware. And then to do that within the effective date at the expense of the department, which would be covered under small individual projects or projects that we already had planned to be in whatever particular area the signs were required. And then in terms of informing the public, making the public aware, to go along with the passed bill, if it is passed, we would have a public information campaign that would be far-reaching statewide. Our efforts would be beyond what we would do for any in particular project, statewide efforts to make sure the public is aware of the effective date, and then coordinate how we basically revealed the signs if they were covered because they weren't effective at more of a instantaneous time, if you will.
Thank you very much, and thank you both to the department and to Senator Goycochea for working to find a way where we can get this done. Members, any questions for the department or the senator? All right, seeing none, thank you very much. So I would accept a motion to amend and do pass Senate Bill 110. I've got a motion from Assemblyman Gurr. I'll take the second from Vice Chair Brown May. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Dickman. Next, we'll go on to Senate Bill 164.
For the record, Jan Stinsbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 164 was sponsored by Senator Spearman and others and heard in this committee on May 16th. The bill revised the requirement for the distribution of fees collected for special license plates, indicating support for the Divine Nine. There are no proposed amendments to this bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Stinsbeck. Members, any questions on this bill? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to do pass Senate Bill 164. I've got a motion from Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong. Do I have a second? Second from Assemblywoman Dickman. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong. We will proceed to Senate Bill 182.
For the record, Jan Stinsbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 182 was sponsored by Senators Dondera Loop and others, heard in this committee on May 9th. The bill exempts manufacturers of fully autonomous vehicles who manufacture and sell the vehicle in the state from certain requirements relating to franchises and facilities for the repair or maintenance of vehicles. The bill further requires the Director of the Department of Motor Vehicles, for the purposes of issuing a certificate of title, to accept a manufacturer's certificate of origin or manufacturer's statement of origin as proof of ownership for fully autonomous vehicles that are operated by certain manufacturers of autonomous vehicles for the purpose of providing delivery services. There are no proposed amendments to the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Stinsbeck. Members, any questions on SB 182? Seeing none, I'd accept a motion to do pass. Do pass. Got a motion. Where did that motion come from? Assemblyman Carter. Do I have a second? I've got a second from Assemblyman Gurr. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries. I will assign that floor statement to Vice Chair Brown May. We'll move on to Senate Bill 257.
For the record, Jan Stinsbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 257 was sponsored by Senator Daly and heard in this committee on May 2nd. The bill revises payroll reporting requirements for certain renewable energy facilities that receive certain tax abatements and requires payroll and compliance reports to be submitted quarterly during the term of construction. Annual reports to be submitted as required at all other times. The term of construction commences when a building permit is issued by the applicable city or county and does not end until the facility goes online or at another time that is determined by the Director of the Office of Energy within the Office of the Governor. There are no proposed amendments to the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stinsbeck. Members, any questions on Senate Bill 257? Seeing none, I'd accept a motion to do pass. I've got a motion from Assemblywoman Peters. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second from Vice Chair Brown May. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblyman Carter. We'll move on to Senate Bill 314.
For the record, Jan Stinsbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 314 was sponsored by Senator Lang and others and heard in this committee on May 11th. The bill requires the Public Utilities Commission of Nevada to establish biennial targets for certain electric utilities in order to provide the greatest benefit to customers in relation to the cost of producing energy storage systems. The bill also requires licensed individuals to install electrochemical and energy storage systems in conformance with certain standards. Finally, the bill authorized the provider of a training program for the installation of electrochemical energy storage to request the Joint Understanding Committee on Growth Infrastructure to review the program and for the committee to include recommendations regarding the same in its final report. There's one proposed amendment to the bill sponsored by the Assembly Committee on Growth Infrastructure, which removes the authorization to have a training program for the installation of electrochemical energy storage requests. The Joint Understanding Committee on Growth Infrastructure to review the program. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Stinisek. Members, any questions on Senate Bill 314? Assemblywoman Peters.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I appreciate the amendment. I'm just curious if there was a revision or if this removes the section.
Yes, so there was conversation, I think, there was concern about that being the appropriate venue, so it was decided to remove that and then consider anything else kind of on a going forward basis. Thank you. Members, any additional questions? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to amend and do pass Senate Bill 314.
So moved.
I've got a motion from Vice Chair Brown-May. Do I have a second? Second from Assemblyman Carter. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. I will assign that floor statement to Assemblyman Carter. We'll move on to Senate Bill 334.
For the record, Jan Stinisbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 334 was sponsored by Senator Spearman and others and heard this committee on May 16th. The bill authorized the use of an energy storage system that is commercially available technology that is capable of retaining, storing, and delivering energy using only green hydrogen to meet existing biennial storage targets. There is one proposed amendment to this bill by the Assembly Committee on Growth Infrastructure, which provides the definition of green hydrogen. The language is attached to the work session document. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Stinisbeck. Members, any questions on Senate Bill 334? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to amend and do pass. Got a motion from Assemblyman Carter. Do I have a second? Second from Assemblyman Gurr. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Peters. We'll move on to Senate Bill 346.
For the record, Jan Stinsbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 346 was sponsored by Senator Spearman and heard in this committee on May 16th. The bill authorizes certain transactions to be conducted through an electronic branch of the Office of the Department of Motor Vehicles. The bill revises requirements relating to certificates of registration and certificates of title of a vehicle and authorizes electronic signatures for these documents. The bill further requires the DMV to design, prepare, and issue special license plates for wholly electric powered vehicles and reduces the fees to issue and renew such license plates. Finally, the bill establishes provisions governing the operation of an autocycle upon highway. There was one proposed amendment to the bill by Nevada's Department of Motor Vehicle, which revises provisions concerning the fees for certain special license plates and revised provisions concerning salvage title agents. The proposed conceptual amendment is attached to the work session document. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Stinisbeck. Members, any questions on Senate Bill 346? Seeing none, I'd accept a motion to amend and do pass. I have a motion from Assemblywoman Dickman. Second?
Second.
I'll take a second from Vice Chair Brown-May. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Marzola. We'll move on to Senate Bill 349.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
For the record, Jan Stinsbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 349 was sponsored by Senator Flores and heard in this committee on May 4th. The bill requires a document preparation service to request an amended registration from the Secretary of State under certain circumstances, establishes advertising requirements for document preparation services, and authorizes the supervision or verification of a registration or the imposition of civil penalties for certain violations. The bill further authorizes the document preparation service to use the term Department of Motor Vehicles or DMV in an advertisement if the term is immediately followed by language that clearly indicates document preparation service is a third-party business and not affiliated with the department. In addition, the bill establishes notification, registration requirements, and prohibits a person from misrepresenting themselves as a document preparation service or submitting application for registration that contains substantial and material misstatements or omission of facts. There is one proposed amendment to this bill by the Secretary of State, which revises notification requirements and revised provisions relating to penalties imposed for a violation of the provisions of the bill. The conceptual amendment is attached to the work session document. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Stinsbeck. Members, any questions on this bill? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to amend and do pass. I've got a motion from Vice Chair Brown-May. Do I have a second? Second from Assemblywoman Peters. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Assemblywoman Miller, would you be willing to take that floor statement?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Senate Bill 384.
For the record, Jan Stinsbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 384 was sponsored by Senator Daly. I heard this committee on May 2nd. The bill revised provisions relating to the development of broadband services and infrastructure and sets forth certain requirements relating to the awarding of grants of federal money by state agencies based on certain factors which are assigned certain relative weights. The bill also requires an applicant to certify the application and that the applicant, broadband service provider, or contractor, as applicable, who will perform some or all of the work, meets certain safety and training requirements and provides job opportunities with high-quality wages to residents of the state, or is a signatory to a collective bargaining agreement. Finally, the bill provides that certain provisions of law require prevailing wage on public works do not apply under certain circumstances. There is one proposed amendment by Senator Daly which removes the provision of subparagraph 6 of paragraph B of subsection 2 of section 3 of the bill, which require a certification that certain persons who will perform work on the project that is financed by the grant money have a documented record of complying with all applicable labor and employment laws in the 5-year period immediately preceding the date the grant application is filed. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Stinsbeck. Members, any questions on this item? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to amend and do pass.
So moved.
Got a motion from Vice Chair Brown-May. Do I have a second? Second from Assemblywoman Peters. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Will the nays please raise their hands? I have a nay from Assemblywoman Gallant, Assemblyman Gurr, Assemblywoman Kasama, and Assemblywoman Dickman. Thank you very much. With that, the measure does carry, and I will assign the floor statement to Assemblyman Carter. We'll move on to Senate Bill 397.
For the record, Jan Stinsbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 397 was sponsored by Senator Canizaro and heard in this committee on April 27th. The bill revised the definition of an operator with respect to subsurface installations to exclude an interstate rail company that operates more than 1,000 miles of railroad track in Nevada if the subsurface installation owned, operated, or maintained by the company are located within the right-of-way of the company and are not subject to certain federal regulations. There are no proposed amendments to the bill. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Members, any questions on SB 397? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to do pass. I've got a motion from Assemblyman Carter. Do I have a second? Second from Assemblyman Miller? All right. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. I'll assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Kasama. And finally, we will consider Senate Bill 423.
For the record, Jan Stinsbeck with the Research Division of the LCB. Senate Bill 423 was sponsored by the Senate Committee on Gulf Infrastructure, heard in this committee on May 11th. The bill revised provisions and renewal requirements related to a motorcycle endorsement on driver's license issued by the Department of Motor Vehicles. With the exception of the first renewal of a motorcycle endorsement, an applicant must submit proof of completion of a motorcycle safety course approved by a DMV immediately preceding 12 months. However, an applicant who submits such proof is not required to submit such proof again at any subsequent renewal that occurs within the following 7 years. If a person is found to violate the motorcycle endorsement requirement, the court must allow the individual to complete a course in motorcycle safety in lieu of imposing a fine. The bill revises certain eligibility requirements for instructors of the program for the education of motorcycle riders and removes required program fees. There's one proposed amendment by Senator Harris, which removes the requirement related to submitting proof of completion of a motorcycle safety course for a renewal of a motorcycle endorsement. And the mock-up to that, for that amendment is attached to the work session document. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stinsbeck. Members, any questions on this bill? Seeing none, I would accept a motion to amend and do pass. Whew. I've got a motion from Assemblywoman Marzola. Second? Second from Assemblyman Miller. I like that. Very clear. And quick. I'd say let's keep that up, but we don't have very many bills left to work session. None today, so. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to Dr. Banbaz, and I will assign that floor statement to Assemblywoman Summers Armstrong. You're welcome. That concludes our work session for the day. Before we move to public comment, I'll just take a quick moment to make an announcement. We do have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow at call of the chair, so just stay tuned, and we probably will have a couple of bills to consider. So as soon as we have some additional information, we'll get that out to everybody. But with that, we will move on to our last item of the day, which is public comment. Is there anyone that wishes to make public comment either here in Carson City or down in Las Vegas? Seeing nobody coming forward at this time, Broadcast Production Services, can we check the phone line, please?
The public line is open and working, but there are no callers at this time.
Thank you. That concludes our business for today. We are adjourned.